Okay, this video is to show you some ideas about testing your Trailcam. Now, maybe you don't want to test your Trailcam, just turn it on and put it out to see what animals are lurking in your little wilderness. And that's okay, but I had several different Trailcams over the years that yielded much different results, and I decided that only by testing would I see how the new camera actually worked. With one, you would swear there was no wildlife around except an occasional bird or squirrel. And another one gave me good views of deers and birds, squirrels, raccoons, possums, a fox, a skunk, workmen, snow, rain, and even a snake one time. I want one that captures all of that. And I realized from setting up the camera that part of the success is based on the settings. So I tried to maximize the chances of getting a look at my target with a short delay time for photos and 30-second long videos. I also use a 64 gigabyte memory card so that I don't run out of space in case there's a lot of activity or if I leave it out for weeks without checking. I won't get into the settings much as there's a lot of different options. But if you're unsure, you can just leave your camera set at the default settings. You should set the time and date, however, so that the info band at the bottom of the pictures is correct. Now, how I ended up with 3 different trail cams is that I got frustrated with one that didn't pick up much, if any, wildlife, so I tried to find a better one. And it's very hard to find one as the reviews are very superficial. I tried searching for trail cam reviews and found several done by hunting magazines, and their reviews were much better as far as detail, but most of the ones that they recommended required a dedicated cell phone line, and the camera could text you thumbnails. I wasn't really interested in that feature and the extra expense of a dedicated phone line. What was important to me was that the camera would consistently photograph the wildlife in my yard. I looked for several of the highly recommended cameras from the magazines, but most were cell phone dependent. Of the non-cell phone cameras, I generally couldn't find them online. So I decided to try highly rated trail cams from Amazon. I already mentioned the problem with the reviews there, but I did comb through them and tried to find the best of the bunch, and I bought my second trail cam. I tested it and it works better than the first one, but it still could be better. I was using both cameras hoping one would pick up something. Then, okay, I'm a Vine customer for Amazon, and Vine offered me one to review. So even though I already had 2, oh, what's one more? So now I have 3, and that does give me some basis for comparison. So I recently set up all 3 and tested them. I started my test indoors, and after initial settings, I put the camera in the living room of my house and turned it on and just let it take pictures when we walked through, sat down, or whatever. Basically, I was just trying to make sure the camera was somewhat functional. I also turned off the lights and walked through the room in the dark to make sure the night vision worked. So all of that worked fine. So next I took my cameras outdoors and turned them on and did my near, mid, and far test to see how they performed at different distances. I repeated each test twice, changing directions to make sure that I got a good test. These were all daylight tests, but it's useful to also test them similarly at night. So my conclusion is that 2 of the 3 cameras work fairly consistently. The third one is on probation because I didn't get any pictures from it. Maybe I forgot to push its start button, or maybe it didn't work because of a problem with the memory card. So when it's not quite so cold outside, I need to retest that one and see if it works, and if not, it will get retired. One of my cameras only takes 4 batteries instead of 8 like the others. I like the economy of that, but I find that camera lags a bit on the triggering and will usually miss the target on the photo and only picks up the video when the target is halfway or more across the frame. You can imagine that a lot of wildlife could be missed as they move pretty fast. I use lithium batteries in my cameras since I want them to be able to survive below freezing temperatures and alkalines will freeze. Running tests like these soon after you get the Trailcam will allow you to contact the seller for a replacement in case you get a camera that doesn't work. Also, testing like this may let you know that you need to change some of your settings. If you're missing your target, if your target gets halfway across or all the way across the frame before you catch them, then you may want to look at the settings to see if you can decrease the lag time on that. It will allow you to write a better review, and as a consumer, I much prefer a review that tells me what the camera does well and not so well, more than one that just says, great camera for taking pictures of wildlife. That doesn't really tell me much, and maybe it was written by somebody that had never even used the camera. I have had sellers contact me when I put up a not so positive review with an offer to replace the item. And this was even after I had contacted Amazon and tried to return through Amazon and told the item wasn't eligible to be returned because it had been more than 30 days. The seller contacted me and said, okay, yeah, you can return it, and they sent me a new one. So it's worth putting out a review when you have something that you can specify what the problem is.